What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the German Bear Podcast. And today we got day 11 recap of the 2022 Chicago Bears training camp. And in general, today was the Family Fest Day, around a 2-hour practice, and the Bears were at Soldier Field with a lot of fans in the stands, and it was open to the public and live tweets were allowed, so much more videos and information was giving out. So lots of great stuff to get into today. But before we're going to talk about the actual practice, we have to talk about the biggest topic of today, which overshadowed anything that was happening in the NFL, and that is Roquan Smith's trade request. According to Ian Rappaport, Roquan Smith requested a trade out of Chicago, and in his official statement, he mentioned that he doesn't feel valued by the front office regime. They refused to negotiate in, quote, good faith, and he also did not have a chance to talk to the McCaskies. They are, according to him, the only ones that could salvage this situation. And I mean, first of all, Roquan has no agent, so it makes it obviously way harder to negotiate easily. And obviously, at the moment, it looks absolutely horrible. I mean, obviously, it is about the best player on your football team, and there are a lot of speculations at the moment if it's just a method to pressure polls or if he really wants out of Chicago. And the question now in my head is, how can we actually keep him? And it's very simple. Just strictly pay him what he wants. Roquan Smith, in my honest opinion, is a top inside linebacker in the league. He's a 2-time second-team All-Pro, but really should have been a first-team All-Pro. He is just on a bad team with the Bears that gets no recognition nationwide. So, I mean, you just simply have to keep him. And the question also is, what happens if we actually trade him? I mean, everyone will lose faith into Ryan Poles already after just a quick stint with the Bears. You're losing your best player at age 25 that is just entering his prime. And you also have to question yourself, what can you get actually for him? What draft compensation, what player can you get in exchange for Roquan Smith? And I mean, if you get 2 firsts and a good player, I'm somewhat okay or fine with it. But he is a linebacker, and those are not as valued as other positions. And with the request being open to the public, everyone will place a lowball offer that wouldn't justify a trade for Roquan Smith. So my personal take on the whole situation is, at the moment, it seems like Roquan wants to gain leverage on the Bears to finally get a deal done. If I'm Ryan Poles, I will give him as much money as he wants and make him the highest paid inside linebacker in the entire NFL, no question. He is definitely one of the biggest cornerstones moving forward, and I mean, honestly, replacing a guy like him is almost impossible. Yes, you can try that through the draft, but I mean, the odds of having someone like him are fairly low, and I mean, the guy's just the leader. He's the heart and soul of this defense, and as a player, no doubt he's incredible as well. And in addition, he also wants to be a Bear. Like, it is not like he doesn't want to be here in Chicago. I think it's mainly a contract thing. I don't think he wants out of the city or out of that team, which is obviously in a rebuild mode. But I think that's not the biggest problem with that. And if he gets traded, I will be super mad no matter what. But right now, we all should be calm and trust Poles to get it done. He did a lot of great stuff as a GM so far, in my opinion, and got us out of that cap hell, got rid of all the lots of bad contracts that Ryan Pace put on these old veterans. So let's trust him and hope this situation gets solved, just like the Deebo Samuel one. He also requested a trade out of San Francisco to just kind of gain leverage on the 49ers, and he got his contract later on. So that is obviously giving me personally hope. And after today's practice, Ryan Poles actually addressed the situation. And I mean, first of all, it's positive. The last regime just would have been quiet about it. He addressed it straight up and spoke about it like a true GM should do it. And he stated that they made good offers with record-setting numbers in there per Ryan Poles. And most importantly, he said he wants to sign Roquan and get him to be a long-time Bear. And Matt Eberflus also mentioned that he is in touch with Roquan a lot. So it seems like they're both just not really close on a deal yet, but both sides want Roquan to actually stay as a Bear. So let's actually just hope for the best and see what Ryan Poles can do with Roquan Smith. But at the moment, I'm confident that Ryan Poles and Roquan Smith get a deal done in the near future. So let's move on to the actual practice today because of lots of good stuff was going on. Overall, the defense won the day, but Justin Fields really balled out today with the limited amount of weapons he had. Players who missed today, Kyler Gordon and Velus Jones Jr., the rookies are still out. Byron Pringle is out as well. Angelo Blackson, Duke Shelley, Noah Dawkins, Dante Pettis, and also James O'Shaughnessy. Also, David Moore, the wide receiver, injured his leg, but no further news yet. But it didn't look too good. And I mean, it's just another skill position player, a valuable skill position player, in my opinion, that was really having a chance on making the roster. And if he's now going to be out for a longer time, that's obviously bad for the Bears offense, with N'Keal Harry being out as well, and Byron Pringle will still miss some weeks. So Justin Fields needs some weapons, and if this continues, they definitely need to look out for the free agent or trade market to acquire somewhat of a wide receiver that can help Justin in the long run. And with that being said, let's actually move on to the practice and the offensive performance today. And the offense overall had a rough day with lots of starters at the skill positions out, but Justin and the offense made the best out of it and had a really strong day running the football, but passing was just overall okay. As for Justin Fields, he started the day off nicely in one-on-ones to Roquan St. Brown and had a bomb to Daz Newsome, and really had to work with a rough offense today. He only had Darnell Mooney, Roquan St. Brown, Tajay Sharp, Nasimba Webster, and Isaiah Coulter as his wide receivers. Obviously, Mooney being a great weapon to have, and Roquan St. Brown as well, but after that, it really was a bigger drop-off. And during the team period, he showed nice pocket presence today, Justin. He felt the pressure, improvised a lot, and also had a really nice 15-yard dump off to Khalil Herbert on a nice check down route. He just escaped the pocket and just found him for a nice little shuffle pass, which was great to see. And he also was making plays with his legs today, gaining good yards over and over again. So nice seeing him utilizing his athleticism, but he wasn't perfect today. Had some forced throws in there and almost an interception to Matt Adams, but on that play, no one was actually open. Maybe he could have thrown it away, but I actually didn't see the play. And that's what he showed later. No one was open on a play, and what did Justin Fields do? He simply threw it away out of bounds, didn't lose any yards, and it's just an improvement to last season. He held the ball too long, looking to play hero ball last season, and now he's just being smart with it, throwing it away, and that's just good to see as well. As for the 2-minute drill today, he found Roquan St. Brown over the middle for a nice gain and really threaded the needle on that ball. I mean, it's just nice seeing him and Roquan St. Brown continuing to connect on a lot of throws. Roquan St. Brown is a guy that I'm definitely having on my radar as a up-and-coming wide receiver. And after that, he personally had the best throw of the day today, which was to Darnell Mooney. Before that, he had a quick completion to a tight end. Then the offense moved, lined up flawlessly and fast, and then he found Darnell Mooney over the middle with a tight window throw, perfectly put where only the wide receiver could get it. So that was a really good throw by Justin Fields, just a so-called NFL throw, and I love to see that. And to round out practice, Justin scrambled for 2 touchdowns today in the red zone as well, showed his shiftiness when running the ball and just his acceleration and quickness. So like I said, not a lot of weapons to work with today, but Justin definitely made the best out of it and showed a lot of improvement today too. So now moving on to the running game today. Like I said, it looked really strong today. The offensive line gets good push for the running backs, and the running backs actually find the running lanes fast and just fluid. David Montgomery with amazing runs today and catches as well. He just looks extremely shifty, has great burst, amazing balance just as always. And I mean, he's just such a great running back to have. And also our backups, Khalil Herbert as well as Treston Ebner, are both looking very good as well. Some good runs today by both of them. And it's just a great rotation that we have at the moment to help our young quarterback. The wide receivers today, Darnell Mooney with probably the catch of today. Insane one-handed catch on the sideline. And I mean, he's just a wide receiver one in the making. He's ready for that role in my opinion. Also a great ball by Justin Fields, but also the catch was just absolutely insane. It was great coverage, but he just went up and snagged it with one hand. Great catch there. And also lots of big catches today in general. He appeared very clutch, had that contested catch in traffic with Justin Fields in that 2-minute drill. Roquan St. Brown today had a great catch in one-on-ones, even though he was held. So he just showed his strong hands there. And later in that 2-minute drill, as I've already talked about, that catch over the middle. Daz Newsome appeared a couple of times today as well. Caught a bomb from Justin Fields and later a touchdown from Peterman. And that already wraps up the wide receivers for today. As for the Titans, Cole Kmet was held out for the rest of the practice today. Reports were about him having something with the arm or the shoulder, but nothing official on him yet, so let's wait and see what happens with him. But I think it will be nothing too serious with him. And players that stepped in for him today, Ryzen John and Chase Allen stepped in with the ones today. John with some nice catches in one-on-ones, utilizing his big body, and him and Justin Fields connected on several throws in the 2-minute drill as well, so nice seeing a player that's lower on the depth chart actually performing today. As for the offensive line, the constellation in the first team today was Braxton Jones at left tackle, Cody Whitehair at left guard, Sam Mustipher at center, Michael Schofield at right guard, and Riley Reef at right tackle. Tevin was with the second team, and Borum was at left tackle with the second team. And that constellation of the first team today is actually the second time in a row that we saw that, so that's kind of interesting. As for Braxton Jones, he's just continuing to having an absolutely amazing camp. He definitely looks like the left tackle number one without a doubt at the moment, and obviously there will be mistakes. He allowed a sack today in the team period against Robert Quinn, but who am I to blame him for that? But also a lot of ups today. Had a very nice block where he put the defensive lineman on the ground today, so he's just such a talented player and I love to see it. As for right guard Michael Schofield, he was mentioned today, had a very strong practice with great blocks in the run game, and Larry Warren with some nice blocks and one-on-ones by reports as well, held all his blocks, so that's nice seeing the now second team left tackle performing too. So that wraps it up for the offensive performance today. Not too many great plays in the passing game today, but I mean, we just simply did not have enough weapons today. As for the run game, looked really strong, so that's something promising. And I mean, I just can't wait and see how they do in the preseason game number 1. So finishing up the offense, we will actually move on to the defensive performance today. And the defense just in general continues to embrace the hits principle, hitting on the ball every single play. If it's caught, if it's not caught, they're just always around the ball. And it always seems like 2 to 3 players are actually around the ball, it seems like. So it's insanely nice to see everybody's hustling on the field. And like the coaching is really having an impact on these players, as it looks like. As for the defensive line, Robert Quinn with a nice day today had a sack against Braxton Jones, and he just straight up beat Braxton with his classic, I don't know how it's exactly called, but just somehow his classic hop swipe move. As for Mario Edwards Jr. with a nice rep against Tevin Jenkins in one-on-ones, and also Dominique Robinson is improving day by day, had a great play to stuff the run today. Obviously, he's more likely going to be used as a pass rusher on third downs or just a rotational pass rusher if Robert Quinn or Travis Gibson have to go out. But it's nice seeing him already showing some great stuff in the run game. That's the area of his game that he definitely needs to improve on the most. So nice hearing that today. The linebackers, only something about Matt Adams. He had almost that pick on Justin Fields. So Matt Adams continuing to forcing turnovers, being around the ball, and just almost making another interception. He's looking really strong in camp, and I mean, it's just great having a veteran on a cheap deal performing on that high of a level. And also some news now about Roquan Smith here. He actually was at practice today. I forgot to mention that in the trade segment of the show, but yeah, he was at camp, so that's maybe a good sign as well. As for the defensive backs, the secondary is really giving the offense almost 0 chances today. Real good coverage all around. Jalen Johnson is an absolute lockdown. Had a nice coverage on Mooney today with a pass breakup as well. So cornerback number 1 looking really strong as well. So overall, the defense performed quite well today and definitely won the day. They really locked down the wide receivers today and put up some good pressure on Justin Fields. And I think the defense will be very good in 2022 nonetheless, even though we lost guys like Akeem Hicks or Khalil Mack. So with that being said, let's move on to the last segment of today's video, which is the special teams. And not a lot about the special teams today, but Trenton Gill with a 65 air yards punt. And I mean, that's just an absolute strong leg that he has right there. And he just continues showing out in Bears training camp. And I think we got an absolute steal in the 7th round. As for Cairo Santos today, he had some nice field goals, but nothing more about him. He's just Mr. Automatic, and I mean, he just overcomes every obstacle that is in his way. So with that being said, that's the end of the recap, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it. Definitely stay tuned for the next couple of days. I will keep you updated on the Roquan Smith situations, on all of the training camp practices, as well as the first preseason game of the season. Like and subscribe if you liked the video. Check out Instagram if you want to as well. And as always, guys, bear down.